Okay, this is an introduction to fingerstyle country blues. I'm going to adjust this camera. We're going to be working with the G chord today, and the tune that I'm going to use is what I call Big-Legged Woman, but I'm sure there's other people who play almost the exact same thing and call it something different. So just to get going here, be in tune with me. That's the low E, 6th string, thickest string. A, 4th string D, G, 2nd string B, the high E string. So I'm going to go over different sections of this tune as I'm moving stuff around, because you have to make your G chord one of two ways for this song. Not have to, but it really makes sense. I would suggest this particular fingering, middle two fingers right there. This lets you have a bass to hold down, and you can walk melodies down with your 4th and 1st stringer from the 1st string, 2nd string down to the 3rd string, and bring this guy up if you need. The other way would be more old-timey, and that's thumb over top for the low G, and then you have 3rd and 1st finger to play. So whichever works for you, like I'll say in every lesson 3 or 4 times, if you are happy with your sound, that's all that matters. So I can play it either way. I think there is a slight difference in the sound, but this is just the fretting hand. But the fretting hand does deal with phrasing, particularly with open strings going to fretted strings. But to get going, I'm going to use this G shape. And again, this G shape like this means when you go to your C, you're moving these down as a pair. To the F, that middle set moves down a set. D, so your middle fingers just move from string to string. Remember, the least amount of movement, the least amount of effort is key to playing any musical instrument. So that's our G. I'm using one finger and thumb. I've got picks. I can play this with picks, without picks. But for this particular lesson, we're going to use just index finger and thumb. So with this G shape, the key here is getting this bass going that you are so absolutely comfortable playing the bass that you don't even have to think about it unless you want to. So we're going from 6th string, a G, fretted, to the 4th string. Play it just this walking tempo. So my right hand is kind of just lightly just setting here. It's very relaxed. My forearm is very relaxed. I'm using my muscle of my thumb. It's a strong muscle as far as fingers go. So you want your thumb to be parallel to the strings as much as possible. If you're using a pick such as I am, the pick should be above the fingernail, the thumbnail. If you are not using picks, then you want to grab as much of the string as possible. So the movement of your picking hand, your right hand, is identical really. Whether you're using picks or not, you're just a little bit closer to the string, and you're grabbing the string obviously more when you attack it if you're using your bare fingers. Now the key to what we call alternating bass is they are not equal. So the way I'm playing this right now, most likely I'm in 2/4 or I'm in 4/4. Doesn't really matter. There's a strong beat and a weak beat. So right now, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, or if I'm playing 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, I kind of feel this in 2 more than 4, but they're rather identical. So what you need to do, as I've been playing this for a long time, because it's the second watch through, you can be playing this with me as you're listening to me. I'm going to start bringing out the 4th string more. Now it definitely sounds like 2 voices, because that open string just rings through. Then I'm going to shift the accent to the 6th string, the lowest, thickest string. As that might seem, you want to be able to do that. I mean, an average song is about 3 minutes long. So this song, you're not even changing chords. You're just doing that one chord. So in some ways you might think it's easier. In some ways it might be harder just to keep that going. But you got to be able to do that for around 3 minutes to make it through any kind of song. Okay? But when you're first starting, if you get tight or tired, then you shake your hand out. Don't, pain is not what we're after here. Pain is not your friend. Okay? So once you get that bass going, then we're going to pick the melody, and I'm going to basically use my index finger. Melody is on the first 3 strings. It's kind of like 4 phrases. The first 3 phrases are identical. So the amount of pitches here is not that big of a deal. So any of those melody notes will be played with the index finger. So I'm going to shift this over a little bit. This is the poor man's studio. Okay, so this is the hand we're really kind of focusing on right now. Again, you want it to be relaxed. So you're fretting the G and the B with those middle fingers. You only exert the amount of pressure you need to fret the strings. And sometimes you might release the pressure just to help with the phrasing, to separate that G. Now, why do we need this B? Well, we really don't. But if for some reason we want to elaborate on the bass, or we hit the 5th string by accident, it's going to sound okay with that note, because this is basically a 1-note John. It's all based around G, and that's pretty much it. So we're just going to kind of walk. This is 3rd fret, 1st string. I don't know if this angle is the best. So that's 3rd fret, 1st fret, 1st string. Open 1st string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 1st fret, 2nd string, open B, and then we elaborate. It will be 3rd fret of the 3rd string and open 3rd string. If we needed the A, we would bring this finger down. Sorry, can't play it even right. So it's kind of just what I refer to as walking down. That would be more of a scale. If we want the blue note, that's going to be that B flat. Because in the key of G, there's so-called 2 blue notes. One is between B flat and B, and that's why we're bending that just a little bit with our little finger here. And the other would be the F, bending up to the F sharp just a little bit. Okay, so our melody starts off the beat. So it's 1. And that repeats 3 times. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I messed it up right there. And then it picks up even into the very last phrase. So everything I'm picking here is index finger, right hand. 1 and 2 and 1. And then bum 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 bum. So that last part is open E, D, E, first string, third fret, that's your blue note, third fret, third string, going up to the B, which is a natural. So it's bam, bam. You can't get more bluesy than that. So these fingers, just the amount of pressure needed to fret the string. So just getting used to having those two fingers there and walking this stuff around, that is an accomplishment in itself. You have to remember, I'm doing this. I've been playing this song for decades. So I'm going to play through this without the bass just once. See if I can make it through without screwing up. 1, 2. And then you can do that whole thing again. That there's a second part you can come into, which is open B, third fret to the D, B, bending B flat, B to G, bum bum. And then you can elaborate on that and work it down here to the 7th. Whatever you want to do with the melody and make it your own is the way to go with this. So G, by bringing this little finger to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, that's a D, we're revoicing it. And for our 7th, we need the F, natural, which is there. So this G 7th chord is using all 4 fingers. It's a nice sounding chord. Better sounding than just this, because that open 2nd string kind of gets away from us. The more strings you control by fretting, the more control you actually usually have. Okay, so how do we put this together with the bass? Well, back to the bass. You've got to be able to play that bass without even thinking about it. That is crucial. I'm adjusting on the fly. Okay, here we go. I just hit a couple strings there, it doesn't matter. As long as you're making a chord, while playing that, I shifted the bass from the 6th string to the 4th string. I didn't play it exact, but the rhythm is there. It's syncopated. Now, you're either going to be pinching, which means you're playing a bass and index at the same time. And I believe almost the entire song is pinching. So if we start with the beginning, the melody starts off the beat. So that 6th string, that's like 1. Pinch, 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 pinch. And here's the syncopation. Bass note without the melody. Bass note without a melody. Pinch. That's the 3rd time through. Pinch, 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 pinch. So it's all pinches. Now, whether that makes it easier or hard, that depends on the performer. But to play an R&B bass and play melody notes that are off the beat that aren't with the bass note, to me, is probably more difficult. But it's all just a matter of becoming familiar. So when you're trying to put that melody together with the bass, just remember, it's always a pinch. The only thing that might happen is you will play the open 4th string without a melody, or the open G string. And I think most of the time it's the open G. I never went through to find out, but we can try it right now. So there's G. G without a melody. Then we do this 3 times. 3rd time. So that 4th phrase is all pinches. Then when you get to the 2nd section, bass, pinch, 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 pinch. Then you're going to hang on the bass a while. So whatever you do with the 2nd section, however you want to play it, is totally cool. But the majority of the beginning, which is the most of the piece, is just pinching. So let me play this slow a couple of times, and then we'll call it a day on this. So using your thumb here, for me anyway, you kind of mute some of those open strings when you're trying to fret. But it has a different sound, which is kind of cool. In a way, it's like more old-timey. So there you go. That's about 20 minutes of practice on I Got Me a Big-Legged Woman. And she keeps me warm at night.